Imagine a quiet Australian beach in 1948. A man is found dead, propped up against a seawall. He's well-dressed in a full suit and tie with perfectly polished shoes. But he has no name, no wallet, and every single label on his clothing has been carefully cut away. He looks like he's sleeping peacefully, but the scene is anything but normal. The only real clue is a tiny scrap of paper hidden in his pocket, bearing two cryptic words, Tamám Shud, a Persian phrase meaning "it is finished." This is the story of how that single, baffling clue spiraled into one of the most enduring mysteries of the 20th century. For decades, the world knew him only as the Somerton Man. His case became a labyrinth of secret codes, hidden identities, and Cold War spy theories that fascinated everyone, from police detectives to internet sleuths. But here's the twist. Even a recent groundbreaking discovery, a name for this nameless man, has somehow only made the whole thing stranger. So who was he? How did he die? And why would anyone go to such incredible lengths to become a ghost? It all begins on the morning of December 1st, 1948, at Somerton Beach, just south of Adelaide, Australia. People who had seen the man the night before assumed he was drunk or asleep, slumped against the seawall. But when he was still there the next morning, it was clear something was wrong. There were no signs of a struggle, and an unsmoked cigarette rested neatly on his collar, as if it had just slipped from his lips. He was a man in peak physical condition, around 40 years old, with strong, muscular calves, the kind you'd see on a dancer or athlete. But his identity was a total blank. No wallet, no cash, no identification. His pockets held only a few ordinary items: train and bus tickets, some chewing gum, and a pack of cigarettes. The first sign that this wasn't a simple accident was his clothing. Almost every label had been carefully removed, a deliberate effort to stay anonymous. The coroner suspected poison, something rare and fast-acting that 1940s science couldn't detect. But there was no proof. He ruled the death as not natural, but couldn't say whether it was suicide or murder. And just like that, the mystery began. For months, investigators found nothing. The man remained a John Doe in the city morgue. Police even made a plaster cast of his head and shoulders, hoping someone might recognize him. Then a detective examining his clothes one last time found something strange: a tiny hidden pocket sewn inside the trousers. Inside was a small, rolled-up scrap of paper printed with the words Tamám Shud. A librarian quickly identified the phrase from the last page of a book called The Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. The meaning, "it is ended," was as poetic as it was chilling. Was it a suicide note? A message? The discovery electrified the investigation. Police launched a nationwide search, not for a person, but for the specific copy of that book the paper was torn from. Then months later, a local man came forward. He said that right after the Somerton Man was found, he'd discovered a copy of the Rubaiyat tossed into the backseat of his unlocked car, parked near the beach. He hadn't thought much of it until he saw the police reports. When the book was turned in, the last page, where Tamám Shud should have been, was missing. It was a perfect match. But that book wasn't the end of the mystery. It was the beginning of a new one. Faintly written in pencil on the inside back cover were several lines of strange letters and one phone number. The letters looked like this: WRGOABABDMLIAOIWTBIMPANETPMLIABOAIQCITTMTSAMSTGAB. It looked like a code. Experts from naval intelligence tried to crack it, but even after decades, no one has ever broken it. Some believe it's a one-time pad, a type of cipher that's unbreakable without his key, which only fueled the theory that the Somerton Man was a spy. Soon after, a suitcase believed to belong to him was found at Adelaide railway station. Inside were clothes with the labels removed, just like the ones he wore. A few items were marked T. Keen or Keen, but no missing person by that name was ever found. Every clue led only to more questions. Then came the most mysterious lead of all, that phone number from the book. It belonged to a young nurse named Jessica Thompson, who lived near Somerton Beach. When police questioned her, she denied knowing the man. But when she was shown the plaster cast of his face, she was visibly shocked, so much that she nearly fainted. Still, she stuck to her story. She had never met him. Jessica admitted she once owned a copy of the Rubaiyat and had given it to a man named Alf Boxall during World War II. Police thought maybe Boxall was the Somerton Man until they found Boxall alive, with his copy of the book still intact. Jessica's connection has remained one of the most haunting parts of the mystery. Did she know more than she let on? Was it an affair? Or something far more dangerous? Years later, her own daughter claimed that Jessica knew exactly who the man was and that the truth was above the police level. As the years went by, theories about the Somerton Man began to multiply. Some believed he was a Cold War spy. It made sense. 1948 was a tense time, and Adelaide was near a top-secret rocket testing site called Woomera. An erased identity, a coded message, and a possible untraceable poison all suggested espionage. Maybe Tamám Shud meant his mission was over, or that he had been caught. Others believed it was something more personal, a tragic love story. Perhaps he was Jessica Thompson's rejected lover, and Tamám Shud was his poetic farewell. Some even suspected Jessica's son was his child because of a rare genetic trait they appeared to share. But with no proof and no name, the case grew colder with each passing year. For 73 years, the Somerton Man lay beneath a headstone that read, "Here lies the unknown man who was found at Somerton Beach." But the mystery refused to die. In 2021, researchers exhumed his body, hoping DNA might finally reveal the truth. And in 2022, the breakthrough came. Using DNA from hair trapped in the original plaster mask, researchers built a family tree of more than 4,000 people. They identified him as Carl Charles Webb, an electrical engineer and instrument maker from Melbourne, born in 1905. Police have not yet officially confirmed the identification, but the evidence is strong. The name Keane on his clothes, that was the last name of Webb's brother-in-law. Webb had separated from his wife in 1947 and then vanished. DNA testing also disproved the rumor that he was related to Jessica Thompson's son. So after more than 70 years, the Somerton Man finally had a name, Carl Webb. But even with that answer, the questions didn't stop. Why would an engineer from Melbourne go to such lengths to erase his identity? What was he really doing in Adelaide? And what about that still unbroken code? Was it really spy work or something mundane, like horse racing bets scribbled in secret shorthand? The biggest mystery of all remains, was Carl Webb's death a tragic suicide or a perfectly executed murder? The story of the man once known only as the Somerton Man shows that sometimes finding an answer just opens the door to a dozen more. Even with a name, his enigma is far from finished. So what do you think happened to Carl Webb? Was he a spy, a jilted lover, or something else entirely? Let me know your best theories in the comments below. Thanks for watching.